950 miles over 5 days, costing £125 in fuel. That's what we're talking about today. My Mercedes E220 diesel 2.1 litre, and it's a great car, especially in 2025 going into 2026. Okay, let's go for a spin in this 14 coming on 15-year-old E220. My E220 2.1 diesel Mercedes, which is actually quite fantastic. Now I suppose, let's get rid of this. Hang on, let's get rid of that. Is it going to come off? No, there we are. Now I suppose, based on the stats, with people having only £1,000 in savings, generally, you're going to have to take some money out to buy something like this. They will start from about £3,500, and I bought this car 2 years ago, just under 2 years ago actually, and it cost just under £5,000. It took me 3 months to find this car. I was actually searching around for a convertible, but this car came up with the right kind of mileage and all the service history, all documented, a book full of stuff that had happened over its journey of 13, 14 years before I'd bought it. And it's worked out to be a really good car. You too could have something like this, but the art of it is to have two things: all the service history and a good mechanic. Fortunately, I have a good mechanic or a good engineer in the shape of my youngest son, William, who services my cars and sometimes services the motorbikes. But this car has just done 950 miles from Stafford up to Edinburgh, over to Glasgow, over to the west coast of Scotland, and then all the way down south back to Stafford. 950 miles. I calculated it by brimming the tank, etc., and it's doing between 50 and 51 miles per gallon, UK gallon, which is 4.55 litres. And that cost £125 to perform that journey. In context, the other week I went down to London with a train ticket, and it cost way over £125 for a return ticket. So, something's a bit adrift there, where it's cheaper to go in a car. Let's put this right, automatic, there we are. Where it's cheaper to go in a car than on a train, but that's another subject. That is another subject. So why did it take me 3 months to find the right car? Well, there's a lot of cars out there that just don't hold a history, and maybe some of them are a bit spurious, and then you get the odd ding in the wing or the door and things like that. So I took my time, and as I said, I was trying to get a convertible, the E-Class convertible with the 2.1 litre engine. And I do like this 2.1 litre engine. I have had them in the past in the convertible, but this one came up and I thought it's too good to be true for the price that they wanted, or the price that I arranged for with the buyer, with the seller. And let's just get through here. Oh, come on, old guy, move up a bit. Here's Ekershaw. I'll be coming down here very, very shortly with the dog. So I bought this car, and just as something to keep me going, but it's better than I thought. And I know I've got the Dacia Spring as well. We'll talk about that in a second. But I needed to go up to Scotland and do some stuff, and Tina came with me and we had a really great time, and Susie the dog came with me and we had a really great time. She's pure white and she gets so dirty in the mud as you're going on the west coast of Scotland, but she can be washed and that's okay. So the point of this is, not one fault was experienced from this old school technology. Or is it old school? I mean, it's got Bluetooth, rudimentary Bluetooth, to allow you to take telephone calls and that. But it's not like the modern cars of today that are constantly screaming at you that something's wrong. And like this one, it had all the service history that made it just right. And the guy who had it previously, he'd looked after it, and the previous guy, I think it was 2 owners previous to me, they'd looked after it and sent it to the Mercedes dealership for all the servicing. Now over the last 2 years I've passed it over to my son, and keeping the money in the family. So I pay my son, but we keep the money in the family. I'm not going to pay out someone else that I don't know. I will try to keep the money in the family. But she's been a wonderful car, and it's amazing how you can find a great deal. The challenge here is if you've only got £1,000 saving and you need to find another, let's say £3,000, £4,000 to buy something like this, then it can become a bit of a challenge. But it's cheaper to get a bank loan than take a new car out on a 4-year deal for PCP. Now I know we've got the Dacia Spring on PCP, but that's a different thing. That was bought from a business perspective, and it's working out fine. But if you're coming up to the end of your PCP and you've got some cash saved, maybe you ought to look at buying something like this. The tax currently, we're in the the mid part of November 2025. The tax on this is about £255 a year, but I'm getting 50 miles per gallon. Let's slow down a bit. I'm getting 50 miles per gallon, and it's absolutely wonderful. It is, in effect, a relatively low to mid-end luxury car. Yeah, mid-end, low luxury car, and it's absolutely beautiful to drive. And of course, it's the size of a yacht, so there's tons and tons of space to put all your stuff in. What's the next venture in this car? Well, a lot's changed in my life over the last year or so. I have inherited Susie, the Bichon Frise dog. The Bichon Frise, which means the journey in my life, now I've got Susie, is going to be slightly different. Normally what I would have done is, in the summertime, gone over to the Alps in Europe with the motorbike, but that's going to have to change slightly, I think. So one could have said that Tina and I would have got on the motorbike, ridden from Stafford down to wherever in the Alps and come back. Well, with Susie, the dog, that's going to be different. So what we're going to do with this Mercedes is have a tow bar fitted, again by my son. Keep the money in the family. Have a tow bar fitted, and then we will buy a motorcycle trailer. Using that trailer and the Mercedes, can then drive into Europe, towing whatever motorbike it is on the back, take the Jivy pet carrier, which goes on the plate, the Jivy plate, on the back of the bike, and then when we get to wherever we are going in Europe, we'll stop off at a hotel for a few days or whatever, and then we will ride, the three of us, me, Tina and Susie in the pet carrier, wherever we are in the Alps. And Susie will enjoy it, I'll enjoy it, and hopefully Tina will enjoy it as well. So that means that getting down to the Alps is actually going to be easier, because instead of riding all the way and the journey to get to the Alps can be quite tiresome on a motorbike sometimes. What we'll do is we'll tow the bike down and have the comfort of the Mercedes, and then get to wherever we're going and enjoy that area where we are. And when we've finished riding that area, we'll move on to another area and ride that area. Yeah? Get the meaning? So that should be okay. Hopefully on that kind of journey, towing the motorbike, we'll get somewhere around 45 miles per gallon. So I'll calculate that on how much it's going to cost based on the miles and things like that. We do have the Dacia Spring. The Dacia Spring was bought for a particular business purpose, and that's working out just fine. Other people on the channel are actually making decisions about buying a Dacia Spring from some of the reviews that I've performed. Don't blame you. They're a fantastic car. They are cheap, they are little, and they're not the most best built car, but they are brilliant for the money. She wasn't happy in her Jaguar, but you know, so they are a brilliant little car for what they are. One of the guys has messaged me over the last few days that he's gone and bought a brand new, no, it was a pre-registered one with something like 300 miles on it for just over £11,000, one of the extremes. Let this guy go first. There we are. Good old Range Rover. Beautiful countryside in Staffordshire, beautiful. And you know, he's gone and bought one for just over £11,000. That'll be great, as long as he keeps on having it serviced. Ooh, I've come up the wrong road. He'll, as long as he keeps on having it serviced, apparently the warranty just keeps on extending it out for a year. For additional years. So your warranty keeps on going and going and going. That's exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. So, there you go. I came up the wrong road. Silly me. Some beautiful properties out here. Not this one. Not this one. But, so now we've got two cars, the Mercedes and the Dacia Spring. And I think I was in the mind of selling the Mercedes because it's not getting used. It's currently now, in November 2026, just turned over 140,000 miles. When it was last MOT'd, April of 2025, so it's November 2025. Did I just say November 2026? It's 2025. So over the last 7 months, it's only done 3,000 miles. Really, the Dacia Spring has made this car virtually redundant. However, we decided to take it up to Scotland and confirm that we're going to keep it, and we're going to use it for going into Europe towing a motorbike. The next job is having the tow bar fitted. So if you're thinking about a Mercedes E-Class, an estate which has a ginormous boot, then you should consider it. They are wonderful cars. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments below. But we've had a great time with this, and no major problems at all, just normal service and maintenance, and they're very easy to maintain. One of the beauties about this car, and I'm sure I should have mentioned it earlier, one of the beauties about this car is that it doesn't have a cam belt. So none of this crazy prices to have your cam belt changed. Inside the engine is a cam chain, and you don't replace that. Certainly nowhere near as often as a cam belt. So as long as I look after this engine, regularly service the engine, lots of fresh oil, etc., hopefully this cam chain should last a long time. A long time. They are a great car. Great value for money now. I mean, I think when this was new, I think it was, 14 years ago, this was something like £45,000. So you are getting a lot of car for your money. Admittedly, £250 for your road tax, which may go up in the November budget. Everybody's holding tight for this November budget. I can understand that. The Labour government are not doing exactly what they said, but that's another subject. What do you think? Tell me your comments below. 50 miles per gallon in something the size of a yacht, and has superior comfort, and is ultra reliable. 140,000 miles. That's nothing for this engine. They used to use this particular engine for the taxis. In fact, they used to use this model for the taxis because it was so good. That's another reason why I like the 2.1 diesel engine from Mercedes. It just goes forever as long as it's looked after. It just keeps on going forever. Hope you enjoyed this. Did it mean something to you? Comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, if you are subscribed, thank you ever so much. It's much appreciated. There are various products in the description, heated gloves, all sorts of stuff. If you want cameras, I'm using a DJI Action 5 and an Action 4 to record this particular episode. Go and order them from the links below from Amazon. Absolutely fantastic cameras. GoPro don't even exist anymore. They're a company that is like Walking Dead. Can't understand why you'd buy a GoPro at the moment. Just look at the share prices. They've absolutely plummeted. However, that's another subject. Hope it meant something to you. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.